Yo, what's up? Stand them up here. Today we are talking about UFC fighters that are going to be making it big in 2026. These are going to be guys that are fairly underrated right now or have some hype already, but are going to get into the rankings or do some good stuff in 2026. Obviously, the guy that did this in 2025 was Joshua Van. I think he was either very lowly ranked or unranked at the start of 2024, and then he started cooking everyone. And or 2025 even, I mean, he started cooking everyone, and now he is the champion. So here are going to be 5 guys I believe are going to be doing very well. Starting off with this guy, I feel like this guy is so underrated, bro. Fares Ziam, this guy is so good, and I really don't understand why people are not hyped about this kid. He is very skilled, knockout power nowadays, nice knees, very long, good grappling as well. He has hype in France, but like outside of France, nobody really talks about him, and I feel that like that's very weird. This guy, the striking is very good. He beat Nazim Sadikov, finished him, which is very hard to do. Nice elbows, nice knees. Like I said, good striking, and I feel like this is one of these guys that could really make a run at the title soon. There's 2 now French lightweights that are ranked in the UFC, BSD and Farziem, and I feel like Farziem is the better version, or not better version, but a better guy than BSD, man. He has very good takedown defense, he has good grappling now, and I think that he could really become a top 10, top 5 contender at the end of the year if he gets the matchups. For example, if you look at the top 6, Dan Hooker is at 6. Bro, I think Farziem cooks Dan Hooker, bro. But obviously, he's not getting that matchup because BSD is already getting that matchup. So before he could even think about a guy like Dan Hooker, he needs someone in the top 10, top 15. He's ranked 15, by the way, but the guy I would really like Farziem to face might be one of the newly ranked guys as well, in Manuel Torres. I think that would be a fire matchup, but I'm thinking of a different one, and that is Mateusz Gamrot. This would be a big test for the grappling of Farziem. And you know, Mateusz Gamrot, he's not too highly ranked. He got a fight against Charles Oliveira last time, got finished there, so he needs someone that's behind him in the rankings. And I think that Farziem is a perfect match to see how good the grappling is of Farziem, and if he's really ready for the top 10, which I really do believe he is. And I think he cooks Mateusz Gamrot. I think he might even finish him. And then once BSD likely beats Dan Hooker, you can make Farziem versus Dan Hooker. That's another good fight for 2025 for Farziem. I think that this guy could really become one of the top 7 or top 8 fighters in the UFC lightweight division already in 2026. Now moving on to Alvarez, bro. This guy is huge. He was huge at lightweight. He's still very big at welterweight. I think he is one of these guys that could really do well at welterweight because he's coming off from lightweight. You know, the lighter man skill is real, and we saw his debut against Vicente Luque short notice, and felt like he wasn't really trying to finish or damage Luque too much, just dominated the fight easily. And he can really get it done in the striking, in the grappling, and I think that that's what makes him so dangerous. He has big KO power, at least he had at lightweight. He has great submissions. He has 100% finish rate, by the way. Well, he had 100% finish rate up until he fought Luque. But I think that the weight cut at lightweight was too much for him. He was trying to get to 170 for some time, but he kept pulling out. And the UFC didn't really let him go to 170. I don't know why. But I think right now it's a perfect time for him to really make big waves at 170. I think he beats a lot of these guys that are coming up. And he beat Luque. I think a guy like Neil Magny would make sense. Once he beats Neil Magny, which I'm really confident he will, because he's not the type of guy that tires either. He beats Neil Magny, then you give him someone in the top 15. Maybe a guy like D-Rod if he's back at that point, or someone else. Maybe even give him like Kevin Holland or something like this. That would also be a very fun matchup. Guys like Gilbert Burns, Mike Malott, there's a lot of fun matchups to make for Joel Alvarez, but I really do believe he will be top 10 ranked if he gets the matchups that he really does deserve, which I believe that he could beat. Even a guy like Joaquin Buckley, I feel like he beats a guy like Buckley. He has the striking, he has the size, he has the grappling. Nobody really wants to mess with him on the ground because his ground game is very good. The wrestling leaves somewhat to be desired, but it's been getting better. But I really do believe that this guy could get it done at welterweight. Top 10, top 5 potential, but he really needs to get the matchups to get to the top 5. Now, another guy who I think is fairly underrated, but obviously he's just only had one fight, Yaroslav Amosov dominated. Neil Magny made it look easy against him. First round submission, and I think that he's very, very good. The grappling is very good. The striking is not amazing, but you know, there's many guys at welterweight that aren't the best strikers but have very good grappling. Kamaru Usman, better striking than Amosov, but still not amazing. Gilbert Burns, and these guys have had a lot of success. Sean Brady. So I feel like this guy could really make a run for the title. His only loss ever was against Jason Jackson, I think his name was, and that was for the title. And I feel like he really lost because of the war. He was at war himself, and then he came back, had a fight. Probably the mentality wasn't really there, but now he's back. He seems to be in good spirits, better spirits at least. And I think that, as I said, he could make a run for the title. I think the UFC would want to promote this guy as well, so he will be getting those matchups that he needs. Top 15 is likely next. Not sure who, but he said himself like it's an interesting fighter he'll be getting. So let's say it's someone in the top 15. He beats them, then you could be looking at, once again, guys like Joaquin Buckley, maybe even a Kamaru Usman if it's a crazy fight. But then again, Usman's probably getting a title shot, which does not make sense to me at all. But even a guy like Leon Edwards, for example, would make sense with a good win there. I think Amosov could do really well, and let's hope that the UFC actually gives him the chance to show himself. And now, this guy, he has some more hype, but not only because of himself. Alexandre Topuria, I feel like this guy is very good. I think his skill set is there. He needs more experience, but I do think that this guy can make it happen if he gets the fights that he needs to, as I said, get more experience. I feel like he wants to go for the knockout too much. I think he should try and use more of the volume like his brother does even, and then the knockouts will come. The grappling is also very good. Cardio is pretty good. I just don't know if it's elite, you know, because he had a fight last time against Almakhan, in which he did really outlast Almakhan. Almakhan was getting tired in the end, while Topuria was looking good, but you could see that he was slowing down as well. And it wasn't like it was a high-paced fight, crazy high-paced, not at all, because Topuria is a guy that can really get a fight to a low pace, and that's what's helping him with the cardio. But I do think that at some point he will struggle with it. Let's say he fights a guy like Rob Font, who really pushes the pace, and in rounds 2 and 3 it might be a problem. But I do think, and I do believe, that if he mixes it up more with smaller strikes and not trying to knock his opponent out with each strike, it's going to be better. But this guy, I believe, is very skilled. He could get into the top 15 easily this year if he gets the push. I would say that this guy needs to get a few fun fights, good fights, before he gets into that top 15. Maybe a guy like Adrian Yanez would be good. A guy like Daniel Marcos maybe as well. Get these 2 fights in 2026, and then at the end of 2026, hopefully he can fight 3 times a year. At the end of this year, he would be able to fight a guy in the top 15, maybe a Kyler Phillips or a Rob Font or whoever is in the top 10 to top 15 at that point, maybe even Marlon Vera. I think this way he could get into the top 15, and I believe he will get a push from the UFC if he believes he's ready. If he says like, hey, give me a bigger name, I think he will get it from the UFC. But I think that he wants to take the slower route, which I think is pretty smart. And then the last guy, last but not least, I think everyone expects him on this list and he has to be on this list, is of course Quillen Salkild, a beast. This guy's a beast. Very good striking, very good grappling, good wrestling as well. I was watching tape on him when he was making his Contender Series debut versus Young, I believe it was, yeah. And I was looking at him, and I thought that he was more of a grappler even at that time. But he really showed that in the striking. Obviously, still got some takedowns. Good wrestling for a guy that I believe more back in the day was more of a grappler. But he has very good scrambles, good wrestling, good striking, obviously, like big power in the hands and in the kicks. So I think he is a complete package. At lightweight, you have some of these guys that are a complete package, but I believe that this guy is just slightly better, and he's improving. He's very young. I think he's 25 or 26, so he's very young. I believe that he's improving. He was supposed to fight Zhu Rong, but Zhu Rong pulled out. Now he's fighting his countryman Jamie Mullarkey, and honestly, I think that's an easy finish. First round finish, maybe even a high kick. I really don't see how Jamie Mullarkey could win this, because this kid, Quillen Salkild, has good cardio, a good chin, good wrestling, good striking, good pace, so he's not going to be able to outpace him or hold him against the cage. That's just not happening. Quillen Salkild is cooking Jamie Mullarkey. First round, knockout. I'm going with a high kick again. I feel like that's good. I feel like that's very possible. The chin of Jamie is really not that great, so I think that a guy like Salkild could definitely knock him out. But maybe he just goes for the grappling again like he did against Ashmouz. In that fight, we did see him tire pretty bad in round 3 after going for all those takedowns. And he did show a good chin because he was eating some big shots from Ashmouz, who is very powerful. So it's good that we did see him, face some adversity, test his chin a bit. But I don't think that that's going to be necessary against Jamie Mullarkey. I think he wins this one. Then, in my opinion, you could be looking into a ranked fight for him. But this guy's 25, 26. He has all the time in the world. There's no need to push him too much. I think you give him a guy like maybe, I want to say Bobby Green, but Bobby Green has been knocked out so much. I don't want to see that happen to him. Maybe a Drew Dober. These type of guys, whereas they're very good, but not in the top 50, maybe top 30. These type of guys, I think that would make a lot of sense. Maybe a guy like even Alexander Hernandez, guys just outside the top 15, Grant Dawson, these type of guys to test the grappling, test the wrestling, test the cardio, and not get him into the top 15 too early, because he is, at the end of the day, just 25. So give him 2 more fights outside of the top 15. He beats those guys, and then you give him a ranked fight. Maybe, as I said, Manuel Torres would be very fun. Maybe at that point, a fight like against Houfi would be fun, or Fiziev. Depends on who loses that one. Maybe even a Dan Hooker down the line. So there's a lot of options for this kid. I think he's very marketable. It would be funny though. This is the first time he's fighting a white guy. He's a countryman as well. It would be funny if he loses to the first white guy he fights. I would hope that's not the case. We all know this guy is the minority marauder. It would be hilarious to see him lose against the first white guy that he fights, but I do think that he knocks the shit out of Jamie Mullarkey. So last but not least, it was Quillen Salkild, but I do believe that he's one of the best on this list. I think him and Farzia will make a lot of noise at lightweight. I think even a fight between them in 2027 would be insane. But hopefully that happens down the line. I don't want to see them fight yet. So that was the video, guys. Thank you for watching. Let me know the fighters that you think should be on this list. Maybe I'll make a part 2 of this as well. Thank you, guys. See you in the next one.